The blood oath scroll burns in Étienne's trembling hand as he stands before the pack council. His 4-year-old son pressed against the Omega's legs, screaming words that shatter the forbidden silence. "Don't hurt mommy." The child's voice echoes through the marble hall where royal decrees hang like death sentences, and Sébastien, the beta who denied this pup's very existence, freezes at the throne room entrance, his golden eyes widening at the impossible scene before him. "Before we continue this devastating story, tell me the city you're watching from so I can send you a hug, because what happens next will break you." 4 years ago, pack law forbade an Omega of common blood from bearing the child of a beta heir to the throne. 4 years ago, Sébastien du Montclair signed the rejection papers without ever seeing Étienne's face after their fated mate bond snapped into place during the harvest moon ceremony. 4 years ago, the forbidden bloodline that should have ended in termination survived because Étienne ran into the frozen northern territories where no pack council could reach him. And now, the royal decree that summoned all wolves back to the capital for the Crown Alpha's funeral has dragged this secret into the light of day, where secrets burn like wildfire and destroy everything they touch. Sébastien's boots click against marble as he moves forward, each step measured, controlled, everything about him screaming beta authority except for the way his hands shake when he sees the child. His child, for the first time. The boy has Sébastien's sharp jaw, his aristocratic nose, but Étienne's gentle eyes and that distinctive silver-streaked black hair that marks him as the lost bloodline of the Fontaine pack, the Omega clan that was massacred 20 years ago in the border wars. That forbidden bloodline. That extinct lineage. That genocidal stain on pack history that was supposed to be erased forever. Étienne. Sébastien's voice carries across the council chamber, and the Omega flinches like he's been struck, pulling little Rémy closer against his threadbare coat. "You were summoned under royal decree. You should have disclosed the child." Disclosed? Étienne's laugh is broken glass. "Like I disclosed our mating bond before you signed the rejection. Like I disclosed I was pregnant before your family's enforcers tried to drag me to the termination chamber. Tell me, Beta du Montclair, exactly what disclosure you would have honored when pack law declares children of forbidden bloodlines must be eliminated at birth." The council erupts. Elder Gaspard slams his staff against a stone. The Omega speaks out of turn. "This is a formal inquiry into bloodline violations. Not a place for truth." Étienne's voice rises, and sweet gods. He's magnificent in his fury despite the exhaustion carved into his features, despite the way his worn clothes hang on a frame that's too thin, despite everything. "Then let me speak lies instead. Let me say I don't carry a fated mate bond to your precious beta heir. Let me say this. The child isn't his son. Let me say I'm not the last surviving Omega of the Fontaine line that your grandfather ordered executed. Would those lies fit better in your hall of royal decrees?" Sébastien's face goes white. "Your Fontaine. Surprise." Étienne's smile could cut. "The bloodline you're engaged to another beta to politically erase. The one that your marriage contract specifically states must never be allowed to resurface. I'm that forbidden thing your family spent 2 decades hunting. And you." His voice breaks. "You're the one fate chose for me anyway." Little Rémy whimpers, his small fists clutching Étienne's coat. "Mommy, I'm scared." The child's fear cuts through political tension like a blade, and Sébastien moves forward instinctively, reaching toward his son. His son gods he has a son, but Rémy screams high and terrified, pressing harder against Étienne. "No. Don't hurt mommy. Please don't hurt my mommy." The plea freezes every wolf in the chamber. Even Elder Gaspard's perpetual scowl softens for a heartbeat before hardening again into rigid pack law. The child has been exposed to anti-pack propaganda. He believes his own beta parent means him harm. Because his beta parent does mean him harm. Étienne's words are quiet now, deadly. Beta du Montclair signed rejection papers before my first trimester ended. His family sent enforcers with termination orders. I still have scars from where they caught me at the northern border. He pulls back his collar, revealing 3 vicious claw marks across his throat. Your lead enforcer said Rémy would be torn from my womb whether I survived the process or not. So forgive my son for learning that his father is the monster under the bed, the nightmare we ran from, the reason we've lived in hiding and hunger for 4 years. Sébastien looks like he's been gutted. I didn't know. The rejection papers, they said you accepted. They said there was no child. They said what your family needed them to say. Étienne's exhaustion is showing now. The adrenaline fading into the bone-deep weariness of someone who has fought too long with too little. Pack law is written by alphas and betas. Omegas are just footnotes. Especially forbidden bloodline omegas who have the audacity to carry a child that complicates political marriage arrangements. The doors slam open. A woman in beta finery strides in, her presence commanding immediate silence. Vivienne Dulac, Sébastien's intended, his political match, the beta daughter of the Eastern High Pack, whose marriage contract was signed in blood and binding magic when both were children. She's beautiful in the way weapons are beautiful. Sharp, elegant, deadly. So, Vivienne's voice could freeze blood. The rumors are true. My fiancé has a bastard with forbidden bloodline filth. Rémy starts crying, pressing his face against Étienne's stomach. Étienne's arms come around his son, protective and fierce despite the way his whole body trembles. Careful, Beta Dulac. That filth you speak of carries a fated mate bond to your precious fiancé. Pack law may be written by you, but fate doesn't care about your contracts. Fate can be broken. Vivienne moves closer, circling like a predator. Bonds can be severed. Especially bonds that violate pack law. Especially bonds with bloodlines that were declared extinct and must remain extinct for political stability. She stops in front of Sébastien, laying one possessive hand on his chest. Tell them our marriage proceeds as planned. Tell them this complication will be handled. Sébastien stares at Étienne. Rémy. At the life he didn't know existed. The mate bond he can feel now pulling at his chest like hooks in his heart. The impossible choice laid out before him. I need time. You don't have time. Elder Gaspard's staff cracks against stone again. The Crown Alpha's funeral is in 3 days. The succession council meets immediately after. You are first in line for Beta Regent until the new Alpha comes of age. Your marriage to Vivienne Dulac secures the Eastern Alliance. Your entanglement with this Omega threatens everything. Entanglement. Étienne laughs, and it's the saddest sound in the world. Is that what we call fated mates now? Entanglements. He looks at Sébastien, and his eyes are so full of hurt it's hard to breathe. You felt it too. That night at the Harvest Moon ceremony. I know you did. The bond snapped into place so hard I thought my chest would crack open. I was nobody, a scholarship Omega from the border territories, a servant's son who only attended because I was working the refreshment tables. And you were everything. Beta heir. Noble blood. Destined for greatness. But fate doesn't care about any of that. Does it? Fate just binds. I felt it. Sébastien's admission is raw. I felt it and I was terrified. I had duties. Obligations. A marriage contract signed before I could walk. And then you're sent, gods, you're sent, lavender and winter rain and something wild that I couldn't name, couldn't resist. I left the ceremony. I thought if I didn't see you again, the bond would fade. Bonds don't fade. No. They don't. Sébastien's hands clench at his sides. But I was 22 and stupid and so bound by duty I couldn't see anything else. When my father's secretary brought the papers saying an Omega was claiming a bond and demanding recognition, I signed the rejection without reading the details. I thought you were trying to trap me. Social climb. Use the bond for status. I was trying to survive. Étienne's voice breaks. I was pregnant and terrified, and the bond was eating me alive from the inside, and you just rejected it. Rejected me. Rejected our child before he even existed in any way that mattered to you. Vivienne's laugh is cruel. How touching. The forbidden Omega thought a beta heir would choose him over duty. Over family. Over pack law itself. She turns to the council. Elders, I invoke the blood clarity right. Let us determine once and for all if this child truly carries the du Montclair bloodline, or if this is simply an opportunistic Omega trying to disrupt a legal marriage with convenient claims and a convenient child. Elder Gaspard nods slowly. The right is within Beta du Lac's rights as the intended mate. If the child's bloodline is proven false, the Omega will face charges of fraud and conspiracy. If proven true. He trails off, leaving the implications hanging like swords. And if proven true? Étienne demands. What then? You kill my son anyway because he's inconvenient. Because his existence threatens your precious political alliances. Pack law is clear. Elder Margot speaks for the first time, her ancient voice heavy with regret. A child of a forbidden bloodline cannot inherit. Cannot hold rank. Cannot exist, Étienne finishes bitterly. Just say it, Elder. Cannot exist. That's what you mean. That's what pack law has always meant for my people. For the Fontaines. For anyone who doesn't fit neatly into your hierarchy. The Fontaines betrayed pack trust. Elder Gaspard's voice is granite. They conspired with enemy packs during the border wars. They sold secrets that cost thousands of lives. Their elimination was justice, not genocide. My mother was 12 years old when your enforcers killed her. Étienne's words fall like stones into still water. My father was a healer who never raised a claw in violence his entire life. My baby sister was 3 months old. Tell me what secrets they sold. Tell me what betrayal justified slaughtering infants in their beds. Tell me, Elder Gaspard, because I've spent my whole life trying to understand what crime my family committed that was so terrible that wiping out an entire bloodline was considered justice. Silence. The kind of silence that admits guilt without words. The sins of parents fall on children. Vivienne's voice is cold comfort. That's pack law too. Your family's crimes taint your bloodline. Taint that child. She points at Rémy, who stopped crying now, just staring at all the adults with huge, frightened eyes. That's why forbidden bloodlines must be eliminated. So the rot doesn't spread. Sébastien moves then, fast, putting himself between Vivienne and Étienne, between his political obligation and his fated mate. Don't talk about my son like he's a disease. Your son. Vivienne's eyebrow arches. How quickly you claim him. 5 minutes ago, you didn't know he existed. Now he's your son. What changed, Sébastien? The political calculations. The realization that a fated mate bond might actually mean something. What changed is I looked at him. Sébastien's voice is raw. I looked at him and saw everything. Every choice I made wrong. Every time I chose duty over truth. Every moment I told myself the bond would fade if I just ignored it long enough. He turns to Étienne, and there are tears on his face now, this proud beta heir crying in front of the entire council. I'm sorry. Gods, Ian, I'm so sorry. I failed you. Failed him. Failed everything that mattered because I was too afraid to stand against my family, against tradition, against pack law that I knew in my heart was wrong. Your apology doesn't undo 4 years. Étienne's voice is steady, but tears stream down his face too. Doesn't undo every night Rémy asked why he didn't have a papa like the other pups. Doesn't undo the hunger, the cold, the constant running. Doesn't undo the fact that I had to birth him alone in a cave in the northern wastes because no healer would touch a forbidden bloodline Omega, and I nearly bled out while my newborn son cried and I prayed to any god listening that someone would find him if I died. Sébastien's face crumples. You nearly died. What did you think would happen? Étienne's anger is back, burning through the tears. You rejected the bond while I was pregnant. Do you know what that does to an Omega's body? The bond was trying to complete itself and being actively rejected at the same time. My body was trying to feed a growing pup while simultaneously being told by mate bond rejection that I was unwanted, unnecessary, wrong. I should have miscarried in the first trimester. The healers who examined me before I ran said it was impossible for the pregnancy to continue under bond rejection stress. But you did continue. Sebastian's voice is wondering. You survived. He survived. We survived out of pure spite. Étienne's smile is sharp. Because I refused to let your rejection kill us. Because I decided that if fate was cruel enough to give me a mate who didn't want me, I could be strong enough to live anyway. Because Rémy deserved a chance at life even if pack law said he didn't. He touches his son's hair gently. We survived because we had to. Not because it was easy. Not because we had help. Because the alternative was letting you win, letting pack law win, letting everyone who said forbidden bloodlines should be erased win. And I'm too angry for that. Good. The word breaks from Sebastian like a sob. Be angry. You should be angry. You should hate me. I deserve it. I deserve all of it. I do hate you. Étienne's admission is quiet. I hate you and I love you and I'm bonded to you and every single emotion is equally true and equally impossible. That's what fated mates means. That's the curse fate gave us. I can't stop loving you even though loving you almost destroyed me. The bond won't let me. And I hate that too. Rémy tugs on Étienne's coat. Mommy. Is that man really my papa? The question silences everyone. A 4-year-old child asking the question that kingdoms hinge on, that political alliances crumble over, that pack law has no good answer for. Étienne kneels down, cupping his son's face. Yes, little star. That's your papa. Why doesn't he live with us? Rémy's voice is so small. Why doesn't he protect us like papas are supposed to? Because. Étienne looks at Sébastien, and the pain in his eyes could shatter worlds. 'Cause sometimes grown-ups make mistakes. Big mistakes. Mistakes that hurt people they should protect. Like when you told me mistakes can be fixed if you're brave. Rémy's innocence is devastating. Some mistakes are harder to fix than others, little star. Sebastian drops to his knees too, moving slowly, carefully, like approaching a wounded animal. Rémy. That's your name. His voice breaks on it. That was my grandfather's name. He was the bravest wolf I ever knew. Rémy stares at him with those huge silver-brown eyes. Analytical, careful. Mommy says brave means doing scary things even when you're afraid. Are you brave? No. Sebastian's honesty is brutal. I haven't been. But I want to be. I want to be brave enough to fix my mistakes. Brave enough to be the papa you deserve. If you'll let me. If your mommy will let me. If it's not too late. Is it too late, mommy? Rémy looks up at Étienne. Étienne closes his eyes. I don't know, little star. I don't know. Vivian's voice cuts through the moment like a blade. How touching. How absolutely perfect. Except none of it matters because pack law is clear, the marriage contract is binding, and this little reunion changes nothing. She snaps her fingers, and enforcers move from the shadows, surrounding Étienne and Rémy. Elder Gaspard, I demand the blood clarity rite be performed immediately. Let us end this farce. You have no authority to demand anything. Sebastian rises and his beta authority finally shows. His wolf pressing against his skin. His power filling the room. I haven't agreed to the rite. You don't need to agree. I'm your legal intended. The pack law gives me rights in matters of bloodline verification, especially when fraud is suspected. Or did you forget your own family's laws, Beta du Montclair? Elder Gaspard looks tired. Beta du Lac is correct. The right can be invoked by either party in a bonding contract when bloodline questions arise. However, he looks at Rémy, and something softens in his ancient face. The child is young. The rite involves blood magic that can be traumatic. Perhaps we could delay until. No delays. Vivian's voice is iron. Every moment we wait is another moment this Omega spreads his lies, undermines pack stability, threatens the succession. The rite. Now. The enforcers move closer. Rémy starts screaming again, that same terrified cry. Don't hurt mommy. Please. I'll be good. I'll be so good. Just don't hurt mommy. Étienne's composure shatters. He's gathering Rémy up, backing toward the wall. His wolf rising in his eyes even though Omega wolves aren't supposed to be able to challenge Beta authority. You touch him and I'll kill you. I don't care about pack law. I don't care about consequences. You want to spill blood for your right. Start with mine. Leave my son alone. Your son. Vivian laughs. He's not your son. He's evidence. Evidence of fraud, of forbidden bloodline violation, of every crime you've committed by existing when you should have been eliminated with the rest of your traitorous family. The fact that you've convinced him you're his parent instead of his jailer is simply more proof of your corruption. That word, jailer, makes Étienne flinch like he's been struck. And Sébastien sees it, sees the way that accusation lands, sees the old wound it tears open. What did they do to you? Sébastien's voice is gentle. After I rejected the bond. What did my family do? Étienne's laugh is broken. You really want to know. You want the details of your family's mercy. Fine. He pulls back his sleeves, revealing scars crisscrossing his wrists. These are from the restraints in the termination chamber. They bound me to the table and said the procedure would be quick, clean, merciful. Your father's beta healer said I wouldn't feel much. Just pressure and then emptiness. Sébastien looks like he's going to be sick. I fought them. Étienne's voice is distant now, remembering. I fought until the restraints cut to bone. I fought until I passed out from blood loss. And when I woke up, I was in the Northern Territories. A rogue Omega named Delphine had broken into the chamber and carried me out. She died protecting me from the enforcers at the border. I didn't even know her name until she was dying and told me to run, told me my pup deserved life, told me forbidden bloodlines had been surviving in secret for generations and I should find the hidden clans. The hidden clans are myth. Elder Margot's voice is sharp. Stories told to frighten pups. Are they? Étienne's smile is dangerous. Then how did I survive 4 years in territories too harsh for normal wolves? How did I find healers willing to help deliver a bond-rejected pup? How did I learn the old magic that your pack councils declared illegal 3 generations ago? Either I'm incredibly lucky, or the stories are real and you've been hunting ghosts while the ghosts build networks you can't imagine. Elder Gaspard's eyes narrow. You admit to practicing illegal magic. I admit to surviving. Étienne's voice is steel. If that required illegal magic, forbidden alliances, deals with rogues and witches and every outcast your perfect pack society rejects, then yes, I did all of it. Do it again. Because my son is alive and healthy and loved, and that matters more than your laws. Heresy. Vivian's voice is delighted. Did you all hear that? The Omega admits to illegal magic, conspiracy with rogues, and complete disregard for pack law. Elders, surely there's no question now about appropriate punishment. The only question, Sébastien's voice cuts through the rising chaos, is why we're listening to you at all, Vivian. Everyone freezes. Vivian's face goes carefully blank. Excuse me. You heard me. Sébastien's voice is cold now, controlled, every inch the beta heir his training made him. You're not my mate. You're not bound to me by anything except a contract signed by our parents before we could consent. You're not the pack council. You're not even technically part of this pack until our marriage is finalized. So I'm asking, formally and on record, what authority you have to demand anything in this chamber. Elder Gaspard's eyebrows rise. The boy makes a point. The boy. Vivian's composure cracks. He's 30 years old and beta heir. Show some respect. Respect is earned. Sébastien doesn't look at her. His eyes fixed on Étienne. And I've spent 4 years earning nothing but contempt. From myself. From fate. From the mate I was supposed to protect and failed so completely that he has scars from my family's mercy. The last word drips with bitterness. So no, Vivian, you don't get to command this situation. You don't get to threaten my son. You don't get to treat my mate like he's criminal for surviving what we tried to do to him. Your mate. Vivian's voice is dangerously quiet. You claim him. Officially. Yes. That single word detonates like a bomb. Enforcers exchange glances. Elders whisper urgently. Vivian goes absolutely still in the way apex predators do before they strike. You claim a forbidden bloodline Omega, Vivian says slowly. Over your legal marriage contract. Over your duty to your pack. Over your position as beta heir and regent to be. You claim him, knowing that doing so violates every treaty, every alliance, every political arrangement your family has built for 3 generations. Yes. Then you're a fool. Vivian's mask drops entirely, and the rage underneath is terrifying. You think love conquers all. You think a fated mate bond matters more than pack survival. Your marriage to me secures the Eastern Territories. Without that alliance, we're vulnerable to the Northern packs, the Western clans, everyone who's been waiting for weakness to invade. Your claim to this Omega just made us weak. No. Étienne's voice is quiet. Your marriage contract made you weak. You're so dependent on one political alliance that losing it threatens everything. That's not strength. That's fragility dressed up as tradition. Vivian's hand moves to the blade at her hip. How dare you? How dare I? Étienne laughs, and he's not hiding anymore, not pretending to be less than he is. And in this moment he's magnificent. I'm a forbidden bloodline Omega who survived everything you tried to do to erase me. I've lived in exile. I've birthed a pup alone. I've learned magic your councils declared illegal because your councils fear anything they can't control. I've built a life from nothing while you've coasted on privilege and called it power. So yes, I dare. What are you going to do about it? Kill me. You've been trying that for 4 years. I'm still here. The blade clears her sheath. Sébastien moves, but he's too far away, and time slows down in that horrible way it does before disaster. Vivian's blade arcs toward Étienne, who's still holding Rémy, still protecting his son even as death comes for him. And Rémy's scream isn't fear this time. It's power. The child's voice hits like a shockwave, and suddenly ancient magic that hasn't been seen in generations floods the chamber. Omega magic. The old kind. The forbidden kind. The kind that could command alpha wolves and make beta submit and turn the entire hierarchy upside down because it was never about strength, it was about will. And this 4-year-old pup has the will to protect his parent even if it means burning down the world. Vivian's blade stops mid-swing, frozen in the air. Her body locks. Every enforcer in the room drops to their knees. Even the elders gasp. Their wolves whimpering at the pressure of Rémy's untrained, uncontrolled, absolute power. Don't. Mommy. Rémy's voice echoes with something far older than he is, something that speaks in his words but comes from generations of Fontaine bloodline memory, collective trauma, accumulated rage of an entire people who were slaughtered and erased and declared non-existent. Étienne stares at his son in shock. Rémy, sweetheart, you need to breathe. But Rémy isn't breathing. His eyes are solid silver now, no pupil, no iris. Just pure liquid silver that runs like tears down his face. They tried to hurt you. They tried to kill me before I was born. They killed Grandma and Grandpa and Aunt Celine and everyone. The blood remembers. The blood remembers everything. Oh gods! Elder Margot's voice is reverent, terrified. He's not just Fontaine bloodline. He's a seer. That word ripples through the chamber like thunder. Seer. The rarest of Omega gifts. The ability to touch bloodline memories, see the past written in DNA, speak with the voices of the dead who live on in genetic memory. There hasn't been a seer in living memory. They're myth. Legend. The most dangerous thing in Omega can be because they can prove what really happened, can tear down the lies packs build their power on. Impossible. Vivian's voice is strained, fighting against the magical pressure still holding her frozen. Seers are extinct. They died with the Fontaine massacre. Rémy's voice isn't his own anymore. We died screaming. We died begging. We died knowing our children would be hunted forever. But some of us survived in secret, in hiding, in the spaces between pack law and pack mercy. And we remembered. We always remember. Sébastien is on his knees now, not from magical pressure but from pure, overwhelmed shock. He's 4 years old. How is he doing this? Seers don't mature into their power. Elder Margot's voice shakes. They're born with it. Born remembering everything their bloodline has ever experienced. Born carrying the weight of ancestral memory. Born with the ability to see the truth that others want buried. She looks at Étienne. You knew. You knew what he was. I suspected. Étienne's voice is tight. When he was 6 months old, he looked at me and spoke in my mother's voice. Told me secrets only she knew. Told me things about the massacre that I was too young to remember, but he knew. He's been seeing things, knowing things, since before he could walk. I've been trying to teach him control, but you can't teach control for a gift that strong. Elder Margot rises slowly, carefully, like approaching something holy and dangerous. Child. Rémy. Can you hear me? Remy's silver eyes turn to her. I hear you, Elder. I hear you. And I hear the 63 Fontaine wolves who died when you voted to approve the massacre order 32 years ago. I hear them screaming your name. Elder Margot goes white. I was following Alpha's orders. The evidence of betrayal was fabricated. Remy's voice is gentle now, almost kind, which makes it more terrifying. The documents were forged by Beta Armand du Montclair, Sébastien's grandfather, to justify eliminating the Fontaine bloodline because we knew his secrets. We knew he was embezzling pack funds. We knew he was conspiring with southern packs to overthrow the Alpha. We knew everything. So he made us traitors first. Made us monsters. Made our elimination look like justice instead of murder. Sébastien makes a broken sound. That's not. My grandfather was a hero. He's why we have peace with the southern packs. He negotiated. He negotiated with wolves he was already secretly allied with. Remy's silver eyes find his father. He wasn't a hero. He was a criminal who got away with genocide by rewriting history. Your family built its power on Fontaine blood, and Fontaine lies. And now I'm here. Living proof. Living memory. Living truth. The silence is absolute. Elder Gaspard's staff has fallen from his nerveless hand. Vivian is still frozen, tears streaming down her face now, though whether from fear or rage or the magical pressure is impossible to tell. The enforcers are prostrate on the ground, their wolves whimpering submission to a power that shouldn't exist but does, overwhelming and undeniable. Étienne touches his son's face gently. Rémy, little star, you need to come back now. You need to let go. But they'll hurt you if I let go. Rémy's voice is still that eerie blend of 4-year-old child and ancient bloodline memory. They always hurt us when we let go. That's what the memories say. Stay strong or die. Then stay strong but be merciful. Étienne's voice is steady. Show them what Fontaine power really means. Not vengeance. Not matching cruelty with cruelty. Show them that Omega strength is protection, not domination. Show them we're better than they feared. Why? Remy's voice cracks, and suddenly he's just a child again, confused and tired and overwhelmed. Why do we have to be better? They killed everyone. They tried to kill you. They tried to kill me. Why do we have to be merciful when they weren't? Because someone has to break the cycle. Étienne pulls his son close, and the pressure in the room begins to ease. Someone has to show that power without compassion is just tyranny. Someone has to prove that we survived for a reason beyond revenge. Can you do that, little star? Can you be brave? Rémy sags against his mother, exhausted, the silver fading from his eyes. I'm tired, Mommy. I know, sweetheart. I know. Étienne holds him tight, his own body shaking with relief and terror and a dozen other emotions. You did so well. You protected us. Now rest. The child goes limp, asleep instantly in that way overwhelmed pups do. And Étienne is left standing there holding his unconscious son in a room full of wolves who now know exactly what bloodline power they tried to erase, what potential they nearly destroyed, what truth they've been hiding from. Vivian collapses as the magical hold releases, gasping. That thing is an abomination. That thing, Sebastian's voice is deadly quiet, is my son. And if you call him that again, I will forget every law that says I can't challenge you to blood combat. Protect your son all you want. Vivian climbs to her feet, her composure returning like armor. It changes nothing. He's still forbidden bloodline. Still illegal under pack law. Still evidence that needs to be eliminated. The fact that he's a seer just makes him more dangerous, more necessary to destroy. You saw what he did. A 4-year-old child controlling the entire council. Imagine what he'll be able to do when he's grown. Imagine that power in the hands of a bloodline that has every reason to hate us. Then maybe we shouldn't give them reasons to hate us. Sebastian's voice is sharp. Maybe we should admit our ancestors made mistakes. Terrible mistakes. Genocidal mistakes. Maybe we should do better. Better. Vivian laughs harshly. You want to rewrite pack law because you feel guilty? You want to overturn generations of precedent because a pretty Omega made you feel things? Grow up, Sebastian. This is politics. This is power. This is how packs survive. By murdering children. Étienne's voice is soft, but it carries. That's your survival strategy. Genocide and lies and calling it justice. By making hard choices. Vivian's voice is cold. By eliminating threats before they become existential. By maintaining the hierarchy that keeps thousands of wolves safe and fed. And protected. Your son just proved he can control every wolf in this room with a scream. What happens when he learns to use that power intentionally? What happens when he decides to avenge his murdered family? You think mercy will stop him? You think your pathetic mate bond will make him forget that we tried to kill him before he drew breath? He won't forget. Étienne's voice is steady. But he'll also remember that his father finally chose him. That someone broke the cycle. That not every wolf in power is a monster. He looks at Sebastian. If his father chooses him. If you meant what you said about claiming us. All eyes turn to Sebastian. The beta heir stands at a crossroads visible to everyone in the chamber. Every wolf understanding that what he says next will reshape pack politics for generations. His marriage contract to Vivian glows with binding magic on the council table. The blood oath his parents signed pulsing with power that demands fulfillment. The pack law stacks against him like mountains. Tradition, duty, expectation. All of it screaming one answer while his heart screams another. I claim them. Sebastian's voice doesn't waver. Étienne du Fontaine as my fated mate. Rémy du Montclair as my acknowledged son and heir. I invoke the right of blood recognition and formally petition the council to grant full pack status to both. The chamber erupts into chaos. Elder Gaspard is shouting about precedent. Elder Margot is arguing about seer rights under the old law. 3 other elders are debating whether blood recognition can even apply to forbidden bloodlines. Vivian is screaming about breach of contract, about betrayal, about war with the Eastern packs. Enforcers don't know whether to restrain Sebastian or protect him. And through it all, Étienne stands frozen, holding his sleeping son, staring at Sebastian like he's seeing him for the first time. You can't mean that. The cost is mine to pay. Sebastian moves closer, carefully, giving Étienne space to refuse him. I failed you once. I won't fail you again. I don't care about the marriage contract. I don't care about political alliances. I don't care about anything except making this right. You can't make 4 years right with one declaration. Étienne's voice breaks. You can't undo what happened, what I survived, what Rémy will carry forever. No, I can't. Sebastian stops just outside of touching distance. But I can stand here now and choose you. Choose him. Choose truth over comfort. It doesn't fix the past, but maybe it's a start. Vivian's laugh cuts through the chaos like a blade. How noble. How touching. And completely irrelevant because that marriage contract isn't just paper, Sebastian. It's blood magic. Binding magic. The kind that kills if broken. Your parents and mine signed it in mixed blood under the full moon. You remember the terms. If either party refuses the union without council approval, their bloodline pays the price. Your entire family line suffers the curse of broken oaths. Sebastian's face goes pale but his voice stays steady. Then petition the council for release. I refuse. Vivian's smile is cruel. Let the curse fall. Let your family suffer for your selfishness. Let everyone see what happens when a beta heir chooses forbidden bloodline filth over duty. The curse affects your family too, Elder Margot points out. Broken oath magic doesn't distinguish. Both bloodlines suffer. My family knows sacrifice. Vivian's eyes are ice. They'll understand. They'll honor my choice to uphold pack law even at personal cost. Can you say the same about yours, Sebastian? Will your mother understand when the curse makes her barren? Will your cousins forgive you when their children are stillborn? Will your family name survive the next generation when broken oath magic ensures no du Montclair child draws breath? Étienne makes a broken sound. No, Sebastian, no. Can't. Not for us. Not at that cost. Especially not for you. Vivian presses her advantage. You who are already forbidden bloodline. You whose existence is illegal. You who condemned your own son to this life. You want to add the du Montclair bloodline extinction to your list of crimes? You want Sebastian's infant nieces to die because you couldn't let go of a mate bond that should never have formed. The words land like physical blows. Étienne staggers, clutching Rémy tighter. I never asked. You didn't have to ask. Sebastian's voice is firm. The bond asked. Fate asked. Our son asked by existing. And I'm answering. Petition the council, Vivian. Or don't. Either way, I'm done with this contract. Then you choose death for your bloodline. Vivian turns to the council. Elders, I invoke the contract's severance clause. Let Beta du Montclair reject our marriage bond formally and completely. Let the blood oath recognize his refusal. Let the curse fall where it may. Wait. Elder Gaspard raises his hand. There is another way. An older way. Before blood oaths and binding contracts, we had the trial of worth. If Beta du Montclair truly believes his fated mate bond supersedes his marriage contract, let him prove it. Let him undergo the traditional challenges that demonstrate his mate's value to the pack. The trial hasn't been invoked in 200 years, Elder Margot protests. And never for a forbidden bloodline Omega. Then perhaps it's time. Elder Gaspard's eyes are calculating. The trial is pack law. Older than our current council system. Older than blood oath contracts. If Beta du Montclair's mate can prove worth, demonstrate value beyond personal attachment, then the marriage contract can be dissolved without curse. What kind of trial? Sebastian demands. 3 challenges. Elder Gaspard counts them on his fingers. First, the challenge of survival. The Omega must survive 3 days alone in the contested territories without pack protection, demonstrating they're not a burden. Second, the challenge of knowledge. The Omega must provide intelligence or wisdom valuable enough to benefit the entire pack, proving they contribute beyond breeding. Third, the challenge of sacrifice. The Omega must be willing to give up something precious for pack welfare, showing loyalty to the greater good over personal desire. That's insane. Sebastian's voice is hard. Étienne just survived 4 years alone in harsher territories than your contested lands. He's proven survival 100 times over. Then the first challenge should be simple. Vivian's smile is sharp. Unless he's been lying about his survival skills. Unless he had help from those hidden clans he mentioned. Unless his 4 years of exile were comfortable refuges with rogue support rather than the desperate struggle he's been claiming. Étienne's eyes flash. I'll take your trial. All 3 challenges. And when I complete them, you'll release Sebastian from that contract and acknowledge my son's legitimacy. If you complete them, Vivian's voice is silk over steel. When you fail, and you will fail because forbidden bloodline omegas are weak, broken things despite your little magic display. Sebastian returns to me, your son is declared illegitimate and removed to Omega education camps, and you, well. Pack law is clear about Omegas who waste council time with frivolous petitions. What happens to me? Étienne's voice is steady. Execution. Vivian doesn't blink. For fraud, for illegal magic use, for conspiracy with rogues, for existing while forbidden bloodline. Take your pick of charges. The punishment is the same. Sebastian moves between them. Absolutely not. I won't risk. It's not your risk to refuse. Étienne's hand on his chest stops him. This is my choice. My gamble. My life. He looks down at sleeping Rémy. Our life. If there's a chance to give him legitimacy, safety, a future where he's not hunted, I'll take any trial they offer. Mommy. Rémy stirs, his small voice cutting through the argument. Are you leaving again? Are we running? No, little star. Étienne's voice is gentle. No more running. Mommy's going to fix things. Make them safe. Make them right. Promise. Rémy's eyes are huge, still touched with silver at the edges. I promise. Étienne kisses his son's forehead. And when have I ever broken a promise to you? Never. Rémy's trust is absolute, devastating. You always keep promises. Even when it's hard. Sebastian's face crumples. Étienne, please. Don't do this. Let me find another way. Give me time to. We're out of time. Étienne's smile is sad. We ran out of time 4 years ago when you signed those rejection papers. This is the only path forward. Either I prove my worth under pack law, or we lose everything anyway. At least this way we're fighting. At least this way. Rémy sees his mother stand up instead of run away. The Omega accepts the trial of worth. Elder Gaspard's voice is formal now, ritualistic. Let the record show that Étienne du Fontaine, forbidden bloodline Omega and claimed mate of Beta Sébastien du Montclair, has voluntarily entered into traditional pack trial with the understanding that failure means death and success means legitimacy for himself and his offspring. The first challenge begins at dawn. Dawn! Étienne's voice sharpens. That's 6 hours from now. I have a 4-year-old who will be held in council care during the trial. Elder Margot's voice is not unkind. Standard procedure. The Omega must face challenges without the distraction of pup care. Young Rémy will be housed in the Omega quarters under supervision. No. Étienne's arms tighten around his son. Absolutely not. He stays with me or I withdraw from the trial right now. Then you withdraw and face execution. Vivian's voice is pleased. Perfect. Much cleaner this way. He stays with me. Sebastian's voice cuts through the argument. I'm his acknowledged father. By the same pack law you're invoking for this trial, I have paternal rights. Rémy stays in my custody during the challenges. Elder Gaspard frowns. That's technically accurate, though unusual. A beta heir caring for a young pup during is my right and my responsibility. Sebastian's voice is iron. Étienne faces the challenges. Care for our son. Unless you want to admit your trial is designed to be failed by denying the Omega any motivation to succeed. Clever. The argument traps the council in their own logic. If they refuse paternal custody, they admit the trial is rigged. If they allow it, Sebastian gets time with his son while Étienne fights for their future. Elder Gaspard's mouth tightens. Agreed. Beta du Montclair will maintain custody of the child during trial challenges. But no communication between the Omega and the pup until all 3 challenges are complete. No encouragement, no support, no contact. The trial requires complete isolation. Étienne looks at Sebastian, really looks at him, and something passes between them. Not forgiveness. Too soon for that, too much pain between them still. But maybe the beginning of trust. You'll protect him. No matter what happens to me. With my life. Sebastian's voice breaks. I swear it. On my blood, on my honor, on everything I am. He's safe with me. He's never been safe with you before. Étienne's words are the brutal truth. But I'm choosing to believe you've changed. Don't make me regret it. I won't. Sébastien drops to one knee before Étienne, a formal submission that makes the entire council gasp. A beta heir kneeling to an omega. Unheard of. Scandalous. Revolutionary. I failed you once. I will die before I fail our son. You have my oath. Étienne touches Sébastien's hair gently, a gesture that speaks of forgiveness not yet given but perhaps possible someday. Then take him. Keep him safe. And when I complete your trials, we'll figure out what comes next. When you complete them. Sébastien rises. Not if. When. Such confidence. Vivian's voice drips poison. We'll see if it's warranted. The contested territories are harsh even for experienced warriors. For a weakened Omega with 4 years of exile trauma. I give him 12 hours before he's begging to surrender. Then you don't know him at all. Sébastien takes Rémy carefully from Étienne's arms. The pup stirs but doesn't wake. His small body curling trustingly against Sébastien's chest. My mate survived your hunting parties, your assassination attempts, your every effort to destroy him. 3 days in contested territories. That's a vacation compared to what he's already endured. Étienne watches his son settle against Sébastien with an expression so complex it hurts to see. Longing and fear and hope all mixed together. He likes to be sung to before sleep. Old lullabies in French. He has nightmares about the enforcers. If he wakes screaming, just hold him and tell him he's safe. Don't ask about the dreams. He'll talk when he's ready. I'll remember. Sébastien's voice is thick with emotion. Anything else? He's allergic to silver dust. It makes him break out in hives. He needs to eat frequently or his blood sugar drops, and he gets dizzy. He's scared of loud noises because of things that happened when we were running. And he thinks his father is a monster who wants to hurt us, so maybe prove him wrong. Show him that not all papas are nightmares. The request breaks something in Sébastien's face. I'll do my best. I'll be the father he deserves. The father I should have been from the start. Good. Étienne steps back, and the distance between them suddenly feels like miles. Because if I die in these trials, he's all you'll have left of me. Make sure he knows. Make sure he knows I loved him enough to fight impossible odds. That I loved both of you enough to risk everything. You're not going to die. Sébastien's voice is fierce. You're going to complete these challenges and come back to us, and we're going to figure out how to be a family despite everything. That's what happens. That's the only acceptable outcome. That's the outcome I'm fighting for. Étienne turns to the council. When does the first challenge begin? Dawn. Elder Gaspard's voice is formal again. You'll be escorted to the northern edge of contested territories, the borderlands between our pack and the unclaimed wilds. No supplies. No weapons beyond what you can fashion yourself. No help from any source. Survive 3 days and return to this chamber at dawn on the 4th day. That's the challenge of survival. Simple enough. Étienne's voice is steady, but his hands shake slightly as he rolls up his sleeves, as he removes the small knife hidden in his boot, as he strips off his coat and hands it to Sébastien. Keep this for Rémy. It was my mother's. One of the only things I have left of her. Sébastien takes the coat like it's made of glass. I'll guard it. And when you return, you can tell Rémy the stories about her. The real stories. The ones not written in pack history. If I return. When? Sébastien's voice is absolute. When you return. 'Cause I need you to. 'Cause Rémy needs you to. Because we're not done yet, you and I. We have 4 years to make up for. Apologies to speak. Forgiveness to earn. A life to build. So you survive these trials, Étienne du Fontaine, because giving up is not an option. Étienne's smile is soft, sad, but real. Look at you. finally fighting for us. 4 years too late, but better late than never, I suppose. I'll spend the rest of my life making up for those 4 years. Sébastien shifts Rémy's weight carefully. However long it takes. Whatever it costs. You're my mate. My fated bond. The other half of my soul. I'm done pretending that doesn't matter. Sweet words. Vivian's voice cuts through the moment. But words are cheap. Action is what counts. And the only action that matters now is whether your precious Omega survives the next 3 days. Personally, I'm betting on dead before midnight tomorrow. The contested territories are harsh. Winter is coming. Predators are hungry. And forbidden bloodline Omegas are weak. Then prepare to lose your bet. Étienne's voice is cold. Because I've survived worse than winter and predators. I've survived pack law. I've survived rejection. I've survived your enforcers and your termination chambers and your entire system designed to erase people like me. 3 days alone in the wild. That's nothing. Elder Gaspard nods. Confidence is good. But confidence doesn't keep you warm when temperatures drop below freezing. Confidence doesn't fight off the rogue packs that hunt those territories. Confidence doesn't find food where there is none. We'll see if your survival skills match your bold words. You will. Étienne looks at Rémy one last time. His expression so full of love it's painful. Take care of him, Sébastien. That's all I ask. Everything else we can figure out later. But keep our son safe. I will. Sébastien's vow is absolute. I swear it on my life, on my blood, on every bond that matters. He's safe with me. Étienne nods once, then turns to face the council with his head high. His shoulders back, every inch of him radiating strength despite the exhaustion, despite the fear, despite everything. I'm ready. Let's begin your trial. The enforcers close in, not rough but firm, guiding Étienne toward the chamber doors. He doesn't look back. Doesn't allow himself to. Because looking back would break him, would shatter the composure he's barely holding together. Sébastien watches him go with Rémy sleeping against his chest, and his face cycles through a dozen emotions. Regret, fear, determination, love, anguish. He'll make it, he says, though whether he's talking to the council or himself is unclear. He'll survive. He's stronger than all of us combined. Strength won't be enough. Vivian's voice is clinical. The contested territories will break him. That's what they're designed to do. That's why we chose them. And when he fails, when he dies out there alone and desperate, you'll come back to me. You'll honor the marriage contract. And this entire incident will be forgotten. I won't forget. Rémy's voice is small, muffled against Sébastien's shoulder. If Mommy dies, I'll remember. The blood remembers. Always remembers. The childish threat in that ancient voice makes everyone in the chamber shiver. Because it's not a threat from a 4-year-old pup. It's a promise from a seer carrying generations of bloodline memory. And seers never forget, never forgive, never stop until balance is restored. Vivian's face goes pale. Control your son, Sébastien. Before he says something that requires council intervention. He's not saying anything untrue. Sébastien's voice is quiet. If Étienne dies in your rigged trial, yes, there will be consequences. Bloodline consequences. Severe consequences. The kind of consequences that don't care about the pack law or political alliances. So maybe, just maybe, we should all be hoping he survives. Elder Gaspard's eyes narrow. Are you threatening the council, Beta du Montclair? I'm stating facts. Sébastien meets his gaze steadily. My son is a seer. That's not a threat, that's reality. And seers have a way of making truth inconvenient for people who've built power on lies. So yes, Elder, I'd suggest we all hope Étienne survives. For everyone's sake. The implications hang heavy in the air. The council exchanges glances. Even Vivian looks uncertain now, her previous confidence shaken by the reminder of what Rémy is, what he represents, what power he could wield if motivated by grief and rage. The trial proceeds as planned. Elder Gaspard's voice is firm, but there's a thread of worry beneath it. Dawn. Northern contested territories. 3 days. The Omega survives or doesn't. The Council's judgment stands regardless of other considerations. Then let's hope your judgment isn't as flawed as your ancestors'. Sebastian's voice is cold. Because if you're wrong about Étienne, if you're wrong about forbidden bloodlines, if you're wrong about any of this, history won't be kind to you. Seers make sure of that. They remember. They record. They ensure truth survives even when those who lived it don't. He turns and walks out of the chamber, carrying his son, leaving behind a council suddenly less certain of their righteous judgment. Dawn breaks cold and gray over the contested territories. Étienne stands at the border marker, barefoot and shivering in nothing but his thin clothes, while enforcers remove the last of his possessions. No knife, no flint, no rope, nothing but the clothes on his back and the knowledge in his head. 3 days, the lead enforcer says, not unkindly. Survive 3 days and return here at dawn on the 4th. Simple enough. Simple. Étienne's laugh is bitter. Nothing about this is simple. No. The enforcer, an older beta named Laurent, looks at him with something like respect. But for what it's worth, I hope you make it. My daughter is Omega. Gentle thing. Mart. Wants to be a healer. And pack law says she can't inherit my position because Omegas aren't worthy of leadership roles. But if you complete this trial, maybe things change. Maybe Omegas get a chance to prove we're wrong about them. The admission surprises Étienne. You think pack law is wrong. I think pack law is old. Laurent's voice is careful. Old and sometimes cruel. But I'm just an enforcer. Not my place to question council wisdom. Though. He glances at the tree line. There's water 2 miles northeast. Natural cave system 3 miles north. Avoid the Western Territories. Rogue packs hunt there. And if you see silver wolves, run. They're not natural. Something twisted. Something wrong. The advice is more than Étienne expected. Thank you. Don't thank me. Laurent steps back. Just survive. Prove them wrong about forbidden bloodlines. Prove my daughter has a chance at something better than being someone's broodmare. Then the enforcers are gone, and Étienne is alone in the grey dawn with nothing but determination and 4 years of survival experience. He takes a deep breath, centers himself, and starts walking northeast toward the water Laurent mentioned. The first day is about basics. Water first. He finds the stream Laurent referenced and drinks deep, then follows it upstream to find clearer sources. Food next. He digs for roots he recognizes from his exile years, finds berries that aren't poisonous, catches 3 small fish with a makeshift trap woven from stripped bark. Shelter by nightfall. He finds the cave system and checks it carefully for predators before claiming a small chamber near the entrance where he can see threats coming. He makes fire without flint by using the friction method that Delphine taught him during his exile. The old rogue Omega who died saving him taught him many things in their brief time together. Survival skills. Old magic. The truth about forbidden bloodlines and why packs fear them. Everything that's kept him alive these 4 years. As darkness falls, Étienne huddles near his small fire and allows himself to think about Rémy. About whether Sébastien is keeping his promises. About whether his son is scared or crying, or asking for his mommy. About whether this trial is worth the separation. It has to be worth it, he whispers to the darkness. Has to be. Because if I die out here, at least I died fighting for his future. At least I died trying to give him legitimacy. That counts for something. That has to count for something. The night is long and cold and full of predator sounds, but Étienne survives it. Dawn of the 2nd day finds him stiff but alive, and he sets about the business of continuing to live. More food. More water. Maintaining the fire. Keeping watch for threats. Midday brings the first serious challenge. A pack of rogue wolves, 5 strong, hunting as a coordinated unit. They're not shifters, just natural wolves, but they're hungry and he's prey. Étienne doesn't run. Running triggers chase instinct. Instead, he makes himself big, makes noise, waves burning branches from his fire, and makes himself look dangerous rather than easy. The wolves circle, considering. The alpha, a scarred gray female, meets his eyes and something passes between them. Recognition maybe. Respect. Étienne stands his ground, burning branch steady in his hand, and silently begs her to choose easier prey. She does. The pack moves off, leaving him shaking but alive. Day 2, he tells himself. One more day. Just one more day. But the universe isn't done testing him. That night, the temperature drops sharply, and his small cave provides insufficient protection from the cold that creeps in like living death. Étienne presses closer to his fire, but it's not enough. Hypothermia is a real risk. He can feel his body starting to shut down, starting to give up. This is how he dies, he thinks distantly. Not from predators. Not from hunger. From simple cold. How anticlimactic. Then warmth flares in his chest. The mate bond, which has been quiet for 4 years, suddenly burning bright and hot. Sébastien. His mate is thinking about him, worrying about him, pushing concern and warmth through the bond that still connects them despite the rejection, despite everything. And with that warmth comes a memory of Rémy's voice. Mommy always keeps promises. Even when it's hard. Étienne drags himself up, finds more firewood, banks the flames higher, wraps himself in pine boughs for insulation, does everything necessary to survive because dying is not an option, giving up is not an option, failing his son is not an option. He survives the night through pure stubborn will. Dawn of the 3rd day finds him exhausted, starving, half frozen but alive. One more day. Just survive until tomorrow's dawn and he's completed the first challenge. Just survive. But the contested territories have one more test. Silver wolves, the twisted things Laurent warned about, emerge from the morning mist. 3 of them. Too large to be natural. Eyes that glow with sickly light. Something wrong about their movements, their presence, their existence. Étienne recognizes dark magic when he sees it. These aren't natural creatures. They're constructs, created things, sent things, meant to ensure he fails the trial. Of course, he says aloud, because talking helps keep panic at bay. Of course they'd cheat. Can't let a forbidden bloodline Omega actually succeed. That would be inconvenient. The silver wolves spread out, hunting formation, cutting off escape routes. Étienne backs toward his cave entrance, but that's a trap. Confined space with no exit. He needs to fight. Needs to use the magic he's been hiding. The Omega magic that Rémy displayed in the council chamber. The old power that Delphine taught him to access. But using it will prove Vivian right. Will give the council excuse to declare him dangerous. Will justify any punishment they choose to inflict. Unless he survives to explain himself. Unless completing the trial despite their cheating proves he deserves legitimacy. Unless fighting back is the only way to get back to his son. Étienne closes his eyes, reaches deep, finds the Omega magic that runs in his bloodline. It rises like a tide, not the overwhelming power of a seer, but something older. The magic of protection, of survival, of absolute stubborn refusal to die. I didn't survive 4 years alone, he tells the silver wolves, just to die 3 days from legitimacy. I didn't birth my son in exile just to let dark magic constructs kill me before I can see him again. I didn't endure everything I've endured just to fail now. The magic pulses out in a wave, and the silver wolves stop, their construct nature recognizing a power they weren't built to resist. Omega magic, the old kind, the forbidden kind. The kind that makes dark magic unravel, because dark magic relies on fear and Omega magic is born from love. The wolves shudder, their forms flickering. Not destroyed. Omega magic doesn't destroy, but sent away, unmade, released from whatever binding created them. They fade like mist in sunlight, leaving Étienne alone in the dawn, shaking with effort but alive. Alive. 3rd day survived, he whispers. Now I just have to make it until tomorrow's dawn. He does. Barely. But he does. And when sunrise breaks over the contested territories on the fourth day, Étienne staggers to the border marker where enforcers wait, shocked to see him upright and alive despite the 3 days that should have broken him. Laurent the enforcer actually smiles. You made it. I made it. Étienne's voice is rough from thirst and exhaustion. First challenge complete. Now take me back to my son. The return to the council chamber is a blur. Étienne is barely conscious, running on fumes and determination, but he makes it. Makes it to see Sébastien holding Rémy, both of them turning as Étienne enters. Mommy! Rémy's cry is pure joy. He squirms out of Sébastien's arms and runs, and Étienne catches him despite exhaustion, despite pain, despite everything. Just holds his son and breathes and exists and survives. Told you I'd keep my promises, Étienne whispers into Rémy's hair. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Rémy hugs him tight. Papa said you'd come back. He said you were too stubborn to die. He said lots of things, actually. He's kind of nice, Mommy. Maybe not a monster after all. Over Rémy's head, Étienne meets Sébastien's eyes. The beta heir looks exhausted too, like he hasn't slept in 3 days, like he spent every moment worrying. You survived, Sébastien says, voice thick with emotion. I survived. Étienne's smile is tired. First challenge complete. What's next? Rest, Elder Margot says firmly. The Omega has completed the challenge of survival. The protocol requires 2 days of recovery before the second challenge begins. Take your pup. Rest. The challenge of knowledge awaits, but not today. Étienne wants to protest, wants to push through, wants to complete all 3 challenges before the council changes their minds. But his body is shutting down, exhaustion demanding payment, and Rémy is warm in his arms and safe, and that's all that matters right now. 2 days, he agrees. Then I'll give you knowledge that will change everything. The promise hangs in the air as enforcers lead him to quarters. Real quarters this time, not cells, with soft beds and warm blankets and food brought by servants who look at him with something like awe. The forbidden bloodline Omega who survived the contested territories. Who completed a challenge designed to kill him. Who might actually succeed despite every odds stacked against him. And that possibility terrifies everyone who built their power on making sure people like him never succeeded at all. But you know how this story must end. With the Omega proving his knowledge, making his sacrifice, and forcing the council to face truths they've buried for decades. With the beta heir standing beside his mate despite every cost. With the Seer child growing into power that rewrites pack law itself. Because some bloodlines refuse to be erased. Because some bonds refuse to be broken. Because some truths refuse to stay buried. And because forbidden things have a way of becoming necessary when the system finally cracks and everyone realizes that the monsters they feared were mirrors all along.